You know, when Dawn and I were planning to go to Mexico, I was so adamant about flying, right? Selling the car and just flying, and obviously we didn't do that. And I got to tell you, what a mistake I would have made by sticking with that, because since we've drove all through Mexico, we have just been able to experience Mexico in a way that we would have never ever seen. You know, all these little towns, and to get to experience the real Mexico. You know, forget all the tourist crap and resorts and all that. Like, actually, you know, just seeing how they really live down here, it's just been so cool. You know, we just pulled into a little town right now and just love this. These will be experiences that will stay with us forever, you know? Love it.
First thing we want to talk about is safety. Many people ask, is it safe to drive in Mexico? Absolutely. We have felt 100% safe driving in Mexico.
Yeah.
People think that, you know, the cartel is going to be out to get you sitting on the side of the street or some shit. I don't know what the thought process really is behind that, but yeah. We've never felt unsafe in any way driving here in Mexico. Tip 2 kind of goes along with safety, but in a different sense. We were told not to drive at night, which we think is a very good suggestion, but probably not for the reasons that you think. More than anything, it is because of the road conditions, which is another topic that we'll talk about. But we highly suggest plotting out a route that allows you to avoid driving at night. Sitting down with Google Maps is what we have done, and looked at, okay, what city is 5 to 6 hours away from this city, and we can book a hotel or Airbnb in this space so that we know that we have enough time to get there before night and settle in, get dinner, all that stuff to get rest up for the next day of driving. That was usually Greg's.
Doggy in the road.
No. Okay. That was usually Greg's job, was plotting out the route.
I'm the navigator.
He's really good at that kind of stuff. So, oh look, there's the Gulf of Mexico. Pretty cool. We're just driving around the coast today. So, third thing is discussing the road conditions.
Yeah.
The main reason why you would not want to drive at night is because of the road conditions. The potholes are like craters here. If you're driving at night and you miss a pothole, you might tear up your car. It might be really, really bad. The potholes are the worst we've ever seen in our entire lives.
Yeah. It reminds me of the movie Armageddon, when the meteors are coming down, and well, that's what it looks like here. It's unbelievable. We'll drop in some B-roll footage of the potholes here in Mexico. Yeah, the roads can be just absolutely terrible here.
Yeah, certain roads are worse than others. We'll talk about that in another tip. But
also topes. Just,
you know, do not drive at night. It's not safe for your car more than your physical safety. So tip number 4, topes. This is the Spanish word for speed bumps.
Yeah.
And they are out of control. They are sometimes extremely large, like you have to go over them extremely slow or you're going to rip something off the bottom of your car. And they often are just in the middle of the highway. You'll get some warnings some places you won't. But in some of these small towns, you see people, little vendors set up selling their wares. They might be selling snacks or drinks or souvenirs or whatever, but when you see orange cones or a white stripe in the middle of the road, or a vendor set up on the side of the road, know there's probably a tope coming and you need to slow down.
Yeah, one of the things so unless you're in like a big city, they don't have like street lights, you know, traffic signals and traffic signs, nothing's like that. How they get you to slow down is these giant speed bumps. I mean, I promise you, you're going to slow down. They are huge. So that's how they are able to maintain the flow of traffic. When they want you to slow down, they just put a big hill in the middle of the road. So, yeah, you don't see a lot. Like, I don't think Mexico invests a lot of money into what's the word I'm looking for? Like their highways and traffic signs and just stuff like that. It's not like in the States. It's just you just drive and there's really nothing to direct you, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah, so you really want to pay attention to the street signs because they'll start telling you to slow down your speed. Usually when that starts to happen, there's going to be a tow coming your way, so watch out for that.
But not always.
And there was a couple of places where we saw people out with their paint buckets and paint brushes, and they are painting the tow-pays so that you can see them, and that's how they make their money. They're asking for tips for painting the tow-pays. So always an interesting way to get out there and hustle and make money. Next tip that we were given that has been super helpful for us is to take the toll roads, which are labeled Cuota, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, C-U-O-T-A, versus the Libre, which are the free roads. The toll roads are usually a little bit better maintained, open highway, avoiding some of the smaller towns where they can, not always. But we have found that to be the way to go. Although it can be pretty pricey, there are days where we'll be paying $30 US total in tolls. There was one day it was about $50.
Yeah.
There were some days it was a little bit cheaper, but it is worth it to pay that extra money because the roads are a little bit easier to navigate. Anything you want to add on that, Navigator?
Just make sure you have plenty of pesos on hand because you're not going to get around them. I mean, it's going to cost you.
Yep. And that actually leads us to our next tip, which is ATMs. They're not always easy to find because you're on long stretches of highway where you might run into a small little town, but there just aren't a lot of ATMs around. So the biggest suggestion that we have for starting out the day is fill up that tank of gas so that you're ready to go regardless of how much gas you already have, and hit the ATM so that you know that you have pesos, because if you stop on the side of the road to get food, you're going to need to pay cash. If you have toll roads that day, you're going to need to have cash. And again, it can be at one stop 300-400 pesos. So you need to make sure that you already have that available so you're not scrambling trying to figure out what you're going to do to get lunch or to get through that next toll booth, because you might find a long stretch where you just don't have ATMs.
Yeah, it's like in the States, you can just pull into any convenience store and there's hundreds, right? And just go to the ATM, and it's not like that here. They basically have one brand of convenience store, and it's called an OXXO. They're everywhere, but they don't have ATM, so you gotta just keep that in mind.
On that note, we'll talk about the bathrooms, and obviously this is more directed towards the ladies than the men. You guys have it way easier when it comes to this sort of thing. Bathrooms are hard to come by, and when you do find them, you often have to pay to use them, so 5-10 pesos just to use it. In the US, we're used to stopping at rest stops and being able to use the restroom for free, and sometimes you might be able to do that here, but more times than not, you're paying to use the facilities. You may or may not have toilet paper, you may or may not have soap. Always be prepared, always have cash for the bathrooms, have toilet paper, have soap, that sort of thing, just in case. One other big tip that we found from another YouTuber is this app called Maps.me. So if for some reason you don't have service, or you haven't gotten a SIM card in Mexico, or you just don't want to use your data, Maps.me, you can have your phone completely on airplane mode and it still work. It works through your GPS, which works regardless of whether you have data or not. So that's what we're using here on Greg's phone.
There's one catch to it.
What is the catch to it?
So the reason we're using the Maps.me is that we don't want to use up all of our data getting out of Mexico, right? So, and that's great, but in order to do it, you've got to download the city, state, country, wherever you're going to be while you have service, right? That way, it's already downloaded into your phone. So we just downloaded all of Mexico, 8 months ago, so we can just go without actually being on data and have GPS to get out. So it's a great tool. It's a free app, so highly recommend it.
Cool. There you go. So download the app, download the area that you're going to be driving. If you're in Mexico, obviously, all of Mexico would be a good thing to download.
Yeah.
And we've found it to be accurate. Like, we've not had any problems using it. So that is one thing that's been super helpful for us. So we're going to talk about passing on these 2-lane roads like this. So you see this 18-wheeler. He's kind of off to the side here on the shoulder. We're passing, and there's this other car coming. They know to get over onto the shoulder to let us pass. We have the right of way in that situation. Yeah, really different from in the U.S.
It was freaking us out when we first got into Mexico. I'm like, holy shit, they're in my lane coming at me. But that's just the way it is. But you're the one that's supposed to get over. So if you look, like, it's like a half a shoulder, half a lane looking thing. And that's for passing. It's very strange here. But
yeah,
we're used to it now.
Yeah, we're used to it now. The first day driving in Mexico, we were like, what the hell is happening here? Because in the U.S., you don't drive on the shoulder. But here, when there's a dotted line on the shoulder, you're free to pass. So you need to get over to the shoulder and let people pass you, or to let people coming the other way pass the people they're passing. It can be totally scary the first day that you get into Mexico, because we had no idea, but now we do. And so we thought we would share that information with you, because if you are driving, it's helpful to know to expect that, right? But once you know what's happening, it's a lot easier. And I say that being the passenger, but Greg seems to have gotten it down pretty easy.
That's because I'm so smart.
Greg is so smart. Last but not least, we want to talk about auto hotels. So we may have talked about this in another video, but probably no one has watched that video. But auto hotels have dual purposes, right? First and foremost, here in Mexican culture, many generations might live in a house together. So when someone wants some intimate time with their partner, they often use these auto hotels where you pay by the hour. You can go for as short or as long of a time as you want. Go do what you need to do. But road trippers have found a second purpose for this. They all have garages, and this is to keep your privacy. But what is really great for road trippers is if you're driving, you've got a lot of stuff in your car, you're not trying to unpack the whole car, you have your individual garage, and your car is locked in your garage and it's safe. So you don't have to worry about unpacking all your car, being in a public parking lot, and maybe someone breaking in and stealing your stuff, which again, we feel very safe here. We don't really feel like that is something to be wary of, but you can never be too safe in these situations. We have stayed in an auto hotel once so far. It was a delightful experience. It had really great showers, great water pressure, great hot water, which isn't always easy to find in Mexico. The bed was comfortable, and we literally just needed it for the night.
I think we spent, what, $20?
Yeah, $20.
Yeah.
It was fine for us. It had everything we needed. And if all you're doing is just resting for the evening, it's really a great way to go. Alright guys, we think that's about it for this video. If you have any other unanswered questions, please put them in the comments below. We'll be happy to